In this video, we're going to talk about the various data types and basic structures that exist in R. So R actually has 6 different data types. I'm mostly going to mention 5 here. The character type, the numeric or double type, the integer type, the logical type, the complex type, and there's another type called raw, which I've never used honestly, so I'm not even sure how you use it. But most people don't use it a whole lot, so I wouldn't worry about it. So character is like a character string, so think of things like letters and stuff like that. Numeric or double are real numbers of some sort up to a double precision. Integer is actually another numeric type, but integer is really a subset of numeric, and this assumes that you have integer values. Logical are the same thing as Booleans, so trues and falses. And then complex numbers are something that's larger than the real space in mathematics. So we have complex numbers that you can also do in R, though a lot of people don't work with those. There are 5 different basic data structures that you operate on in R. So data structures are things that can contain these different types, really. And a data structure is really just a container that holds certain kinds of information. So the 5 basic data structures that R uses are the vector, the matrix, the array, the data frame, and the list. And so we're going to talk about some of the differences here that we're not going to go into depth quite yet. So vectors, matrices, and arrays are data structures that are homogeneous, meaning that they only can store a single data type at a time. So whatever data type you have, a vector, matrix, or array can only store a single data type at a time. So all the values are going to be characters, or all the values are going to be numeric values, or all the values are going to be logical values, etc. Data frames and lists, on the other hand, can store multiple data types. So they are heterogeneous in the types of data that they are allowed to contain. Of course, you can have a data frame or a list where it only has one kind of data in it, but the nice thing about data frames and lists are that they can store multiple types of data. Some types of data structures are considered one-dimensional objects. The 2 types in R that are considered one-dimensional are vectors and lists. On the other hand, matrices and data frames are considered to be 2-dimensional objects. So you can think of them as having rows and columns. Then there's something called arrays, which can be nice for storing really regular and compact objects. But those are n-dimensional, and so you can have n-dimensional objects that don't just have rows and columns, but can have as many dimensions as you want, though usually beyond 3 it gets pretty complex. And you can summarize the different relationships between these different data structures in this table below, which I based on a table in the first edition of Hadley-Wickham's Advanced R. And so we have dimensionality here, so 1D, 2D, ND, and both vector and lists are 1D. Matrices and data frames are 2D, and arrays are ND. But then on the other column here, or on the other columns, we have homogeneous and heterogeneous. So vectors, matrices, and arrays are homogeneous and can only have a single data type, whereas lists and data frames are heterogeneous and can have more than one data type.